power of resilience. Today, I want to spend time with you on a subject that touches every single one of our lives. It's something that connects us through our challenges, through our triumphs, through our heartbreaks, and our breakthroughs, and that is resilience, the power to rise again, to keep going, to stand back up when life knocks you down. Resilience is not about pretending that life is always easy. It's not about denying pain or acting as if we don't struggle. No, resilience is about looking pain in the eye and saying, "You will not define me." It's about taking the pieces of what was broken and building something new, something even stronger, something even more beautiful. I want you to think about your own life for a moment. Think about the times you thought you couldn't go on, but you did. Think about the storms you've walked through, the losses, the disappointments, the heartbreaks, and yet here you are still standing. That is resilience. That is proof of your strength. Now, here's the truth. We live in a world that often celebrates success, but doesn't always talk about the struggles behind it. We see the highlight reels, the polished moments, the victories, but behind every success story is a story of resilience. Behind every person who has achieved something great is someone who refused to quit when it was hard. Resilience is not about never falling. It's about rising every single time you do. I remember a conversation with a woman who had lost everything, her job, her home, her marriage. She told me she felt like her life was over. But one morning, she looked in the mirror and said, "This is not the end of me. This is the beginning of something new." She started small, taking one step, then another. She rebuilt piece by piece, day by day. And today, she looks back and says, "Losing everything was the moment I found myself." That's resilience. Now, I want you to reflect. Where in your life are you being called to be resilient? Maybe it's in your health. Maybe it's in your relationships. Maybe it's in your dreams. Wherever it is, I want you to know you have everything you need inside you to rise again. Resilience doesn't mean you won't feel tired. It doesn't mean you won't cry. It doesn't mean you won't wonder if you can keep going. It simply means you decide again and again that you will not give up. Think of a tree in a storm. The winds blow, the rain pounds, the branches bend, but the roots are deep. They hold firm. That's resilience. You may bend, but you will not break. You may fall, but you will rise again. Let's breathe this in together. I am resilient. I am strong. I rise again. Say it with me. I am resilient. I am strong. I rise again. Feel that power in your spirit. Let it remind you of the strength you've already shown, the mountains you've already climbed, the storms you've already survived. And remember this, resilience is not something you are born with or without. It's something you build. It's something you choose. Every time you keep going, every time you choose hope, every time you refuse to quit, you are building resilience. Now, I want to tell you another story. A man I met once told me he had failed in business not once, not twice, but 3 times. Each time he felt like giving up. Each time people around him said, "Maybe this isn't for you." But something inside him said, "Keep trying." On the 4th attempt, his business succeeded. And today, he is not only thriving, but also teaching others about perseverance. He told me, "It wasn't the success that changed me. It was the resilience I built in the failures." That's the gift of resilience. It shapes you. It strengthens you. It makes you more compassionate, more grounded, more powerful. So I want to ask you, what if your struggles are not here to destroy you, but to strengthen you? What if your hardest moments are actually building the resilience you need to step into your greatest purpose? Because here's the truth. The people who inspire us most are not the ones who had it easy. They are the ones who kept going when everything in them wanted to quit. They are the ones who turn pain into purpose, struggle into strength, obstacles into opportunities, and you can be that person too. Resilience is not about going through life untouched. It's about letting life touch you, shape you, teach you, and still choosing to rise. So, my friends, as we walk through this time together, I want to remind you, you are stronger than you know. You are braver than you realize. And no matter what comes your way, you have the resilience to rise again. Let's breathe it in once more. I am resilient. I am strong. I rise again. And when you hold on to that truth, not just today, but every day, you will not just survive, you will thrive. Now, let's go deeper into what resilience really looks like in everyday life. Because sometimes when we talk about resilience, we think only about big, dramatic moments, surviving tragedies, overcoming great loss, bouncing back after failure. And yes, those are powerful examples, but resilience also shows up in the quiet, ordinary moments. It's the single mother who gets up every morning to provide for her children, even when she's exhausted. It's the student who studies late into the night, determined to be the first in their family to graduate. It's the person battling illness who chooses to smile anyway, who chooses gratitude anyway, who chooses life anyway. Resilience is not always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's simply the whisper that says, I'll try again tomorrow. Now, I know there are days when you feel tired of being strong, days when you think, why me? Why do I have to go through this? Why is this happening? And I want to tell you, it's okay to feel that way. Resilience is not about pretending you're fine when you're not. It's about acknowledging your pain, honoring your feelings, and still choosing to move forward. You see, resilience and vulnerability are not opposites. They go hand in hand when you allow yourself to feel, when you allow yourself to be honest, when you allow yourself to lean on others, you are actually strengthening your resilience. Because resilience is not about doing it all alone. It's about rising with grace, with support, with courage. Let me share a story. There was a man who had faced rejection after rejection in his career. Every no felt like a blow to his spirit. He told me he used to sit alone in his apartment and cry, wondering if it was worth it. But then one day, he decided to reach out to a mentor. He said, I don't think I can keep going. And his mentor looked at him and said, resilience is not about never falling. It's about who you become every time you rise. That one conversation shifted his perspective. He realized that his struggles were shaping him, preparing him, building him into the man who could handle success when it finally came. And isn't that the truth? Sometimes the waiting, the failing, the struggling, it's not punishment, it's preparation. So I want you to reflect right now. What is life preparing you for? What strength is being built in you right now, even through the difficulty? What resilience is being planted in your soul? Here's something powerful. Resilience is not just about surviving, it's about transforming. It's about taking the worst moments and letting them create the best in you. It's about saying, I may not have chosen this path, but I will choose how I walk it. Think about the caterpillar. In order to become a butterfly, it must enter the cocoon. It must go through darkness. It must be completely transformed. But when it emerges, it has wings. That is resilience, transformation through struggle, beauty born from difficulty. So, my friends, don't fear the cocoon seasons of your life. Don't fear the times when it feels dark, when you feel stuck, when you don't see the way forward. Trust that you are being transformed. Trust that you are building wings. Now let's pause together for a moment of affirmation. Put your hand over your heart and say these words. I am resilient. My struggles are shaping me. My challenges are preparing me. I rise again, stronger every time. Say it again. I am resilient. My struggles are shaping me. My challenges are preparing me. I rise again, stronger every time. Let those words soak deep into your spirit, because resilience is not just an idea. It is a practice. It is something you return to again and again until it becomes part of who you are. Now let's talk about resilience in relationships, because sometimes the deepest wounds we carry come from people. Maybe you've been betrayed, maybe you've been abandoned, maybe someone you loved deeply hurt you. And in those moments, it can feel impossible to heal. But resilience is what allows you to open your heart again. It's what allows you to trust again, to love again, to connect again. I once knew a woman who said she would never love again after her divorce. She said, "My heart is too broken." But over time, she began to heal. She began to rediscover herself. And eventually, she opened her heart again and found a love deeper and truer than before. That's resilience, not just bouncing back, but bouncing forward. Resilience is not about going back to who you were before the pain. It's about becoming someone new, someone wiser, stronger, more compassionate. So if you are carrying wounds from relationships, I want you to know this: you can heal, you can trust again, you can love again. Because resilience lives in you.